The White House says get ready for more of this. More fires, more drought, more floods. The most comprehensive climate change report ever just released. And the White House is calling for urgent action. Good afternoon, I'm Rob Johnson.
And I'm Kate Sullivan. It doesn't matter where you live. Every single person will be affected by what's in the 800-page report. Top scientists in the U.S. say you can expect fewer normal weather days. And specifically for all of us here in the Midwest, the report says we're also going to have a longer growing season, but also more heat waves, more droughts, and more flash floods. So what is the White House doing about it?
CBS 2 meteorologist Megan Glaros just got to interview President Barack Obama. She joins us live from the White House North Lawn. And Megan, that report sounds pretty dire, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, Rob and Kate. But the interesting thing that the administration has done here, this is the highlights version of that 800-page report, which is written in simple English with pictures, with diagrams, because this is an attempt to let the American people in on the science that has been done for the government in this report. Very comprehensive, but very easy to read. And this is really an attempt to get the American people on board this effort. And I spoke to President Obama earlier today about that very thing. Sir, climate change is something that I think a lot of people don't put as a top priority. How do you change that? Hopefully,
by publicizing the fact that there are real costs, not out in the distant future, but right now. We can't attribute any single weather event to climate change, but we know that if temperatures are rising, you're going to see more extreme weather events. And that means that more people are at risk, more homes are lost, more lives are potentially lost. It's going to impact people in severe, significant ways that cost money. And so for us to make some decisions now, as opposed to putting this off, may seem as if we are dealing with something that we don't have to deal with until later, but in fact we'll end up saving money and lives over the long term. And I think that's something that most Americans understand.
And the report is interesting as well in that it covers so many things. It details each area of the country, the Pacific Northwest, the Midwest, coastal areas, but it also breaks down the impacts to health, to transportation, to the energy sector. So it literally covers just about everything that you could hope to want to know about what this administration thinks and what the scientists have said as of late. But they are still fighting a bit of an uphill battle. I spoke with Dr. Haldren, who is President Obama's science advisor today, about that.
Look around you. People are experiencing climate change now in their everyday lives, and they're seeing it on television. When you look at the extreme events that are being reported every day, 22 inches of rain in 24 hours in the Florida Panhandle, for example, extreme drought in California, the Colorado River Basin. And when you look at the data, what you see is that these trends are consistent with what is expected from global climate change being driven by heat-trapping gases like carbon dioxide.
So it is very interesting. We have so much to really sift through, to figure out, and it's not really like the climate reports that we've had in the past from the IPCC and more global efforts. This one is tailored to our country. Rob and Kate.
Okay, very interesting, Megan. We understand also there was a security scare at the White House a little bit earlier, correct?
There was, yeah, just after 4:30 this afternoon Eastern time, we were all told that we were on lockdown right near the briefing room because apparently someone with a Department of Treasury ID tried to follow the Obama daughters through the security checkpoints. Now that man has been arrested and everything is okay. Obviously, we're back out here now on the North Lawn and all is well, but we do not know any more other than that. Thankfully, though, everyone is safe.
Megan Glaros, live from the White House. Thank you.
Now, before Megan talked to the president about the climate, she asked him about an international story that's developing today.
The big news story of the day today is obviously President Jonathan accepting U.S. aid to help the girls in Nigeria. So what help will we provide? And do you think at this point, with 3 weeks in, it's too late?
Well, we're sending in a team made up of our military and law enforcement and other experts. And we're very glad that Nigeria's accepted the help. Obviously, what's happening is awful. And as the father of two girls, I can't imagine what the parents are going through. But this organization, Boko Haram, has been one of the worst regional or local terrorist organizations in the world. We've long sought to work with Nigeria on dealing with them. and we're going to do everything we can to assist them.
Meanwhile, villagers in northeast Nigeria are saying 8 more girls have been abducted. Nigerians in Chicago say the help can't come soon enough. CBS 2's Maya Martinez picks up the story.
Live from the CBS 2 Broadcast Center in Chicago, this is CBS 2 News at 6.
Flash floods, heat waves, and droughts. We've seen it all in recent years. A new report on the climate says the crazy weather will only get worse. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kate Sullivan.
I'm Rob Johnson. The report on the extreme weather is so dire it even caught the president's attention.
CBS 2 meteorologist Megan Glaros, the only Chicago reporter at the White House, along with top scientists for this groundbreaking conclusion. Good evening, Megan.
Good evening to you, Kate and Rob. And groundbreaking it was, certainly, in that it is the first report to specifically break down different areas of the country and let people know what they can expect in those areas of the country. Usually climate reports are very broad, potentially saying the temperature is rising. We're going to see these impacts globally, but this is really quite specific. And in fact, let me detail some of that for you just in regards to what we're going to see in and around the Midwest over the course of the next few days here. We're looking at a few years and potentially the future. We are talking about a longer growing season, fewer normal weather days, more heat waves, more droughts, and more flash floods. And in the past few years, we have seen all of the above in Chicagoland. So will it get worse? Will it get better? And where do we go from here? I got a chance to speak to President Obama about that today, and here's what he had to say.
The emphasis on the climate action plan that I've put forward, as well as this assessment, is there are things we can do about it, but it's only going to happen if the American people and people around the world take the challenge seriously. And we've already increased our production of solar and wind power. We've already increased fuel efficiency standards on cars, and now we're going to appliances. But we're going to have to do more. And that should be a bipartisan issue, because all of us want to make sure that we're passing on an America to our kids and our grandkids that is as beautiful as the one that we inherited.
Sir, climate change is something that I think a lot of people don't put as a top priority. How do you change that?
Hopefully, by publicizing the fact that there are real costs, not out in the distant future, but right now. We can't attribute any single weather event to climate change. But we know that if temperatures are rising, you're going to see more extreme weather events. And that means that more people are at risk, more homes are lost, more lives are potentially lost. It's going to impact people in severe, significant ways that cost money. And so for us to make some decisions now, as opposed to putting this off, may seem as if we are dealing with something that we don't have to deal with until later, but in fact we'll end up saving money and lives over the long term. And I think that's something that most Americans understand.
And there's a segment of the American population that questions whether we need to do anything if perhaps China's not on board or India's not on board. And I spoke with other administration officials today who said we are working with these countries, with China, with Brazil, with India, to partner together because, in fact, to them, this is a global issue, Kate and Rob. But certainly in this report, it brings it very close to home.
Yeah, no doubt, Megan. Never a dull day at the White House, and you witnessed something of a security scare today there. Tell us about it.
I did, yes. We were actually in the White House briefing room, which is just over my over my shoulder in the West Wing here, when they said we're on lockdown, no one can leave. Essentially what happened is a person driving the car with a Department of Treasury ID followed the Obama daughter's motorcade past a security checkpoint. And obviously that created quite a stir around here. So they ended up shutting down the White House, making sure everything was okay. They did arrest the man, and we will see where it goes from here. But as of right now, everything is stable, and we're back out here on the lawn. Everything is nice. It's a beautiful evening here, Kate and Rob.
Long day, productive day, and a great day. Thanks so much for your work today, Megan.
Thank you.
And out of that report, there are continued concerns about drought and flooding and how it affects our food supply. CBS 2's Dorothy Tucker is at a grocery store in the South Loop with that part of the story. Dorothy.